Welcome to this explosive breakdown of one of the most talked about moments in daytime television history, where Piers Morgan found himself unceremoniously kicked off the set of Loose Women following a fiery clash with panelist Denise Welch. The incident unfolded on a seemingly ordinary episode of the popular ITV talk show, but tensions had been brewing for months, if not years, between the outspoken journalist and the equally forthright actress and presenter. It all started when Piers was invited as a guest to discuss current affairs, including his ongoing criticisms of certain public figures, particularly his well-known disdain for Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Denise, a staunch defender of the Duchess of Sussex, wasn't about to let Piers dominate the conversation with his trademark bombast. As the cameras rolled and the audience watched in stunned silence, the debate quickly escalated from polite disagreement to full-blown confrontation. Piers, known for his no-holds-barred style honed from years on Good Morning Britain, launched into a tirade about how Meghan had allegedly manipulated the media and abandoned her royal duties for personal gain in Hollywood. He cited various tabloid stories and his own interviews, painting a picture of betrayal and opportunism that he claimed was irrefutable. Denise, drawing from her own experiences with mental health struggles and media scrutiny, countered fiercely, accusing Piers of hypocrisy and bullying. She pointed out how he had walked off his own show in a huff when challenged on the same topic by a co-host, questioning his credibility as a fair commentator. The other panelists, including Kay Adams and Nadia Sawalha, tried to mediate, but the sparks were flying too fast. Piers raised his voice, insisting that Denise was blinded by her personal friendships or biases, while Denise shot back that Piers was obsessed and needed to move on from his vendetta. The audience gasped as insults flew, with Piers calling Denise's arguments delusional and Denise retorting that Piers was toxic and harmful to public discourse. The host attempted to steer the ship back to calmer waters, but it was clear the damage was done. Backstage producers scrambled, sensing the segment was derailing the show's light-hearted vibe. As the argument reached its peak, with both parties standing up from their seats and gesturing wildly, the decision was made to cut to a commercial break prematurely. But the real drama happened off-camera during that break, where reportedly Piers refused to calm down and continued his rant, leading the show's executives to ask him to leave the premises entirely. Witnesses later described the atmosphere as electric, with crew members whispering about how this could be the end of Piers' welcome on ITV programs. Denise, wiping away tears of frustration, was consoled by her co-stars, who praised her for standing her ground against what they saw as aggressive mansplaining. This wasn't the first time Piers and Denise had crossed swords. Their feud dated back to social media spats where Piers mocked Denise's defense of Meghan, and Denise labeled Piers a vile, spewing hatred machine. The public reaction was swift and divided, with Piers fans applauding his truth-telling and Denise's supporters hailing her as a hero for calling out bullying. Social media exploded with hashtags like #PiersKickedOff and #StandWithDenise, trending worldwide within hours. Commentators debated whether this was a genuine clash of ideologies or staged for ratings, but those in the know insisted it was authentically heated. In the aftermath, Piers took to his own platforms to vent, claiming he was censored for speaking uncomfortable truths, while Denise appeared on subsequent episodes to explain her side, emphasizing the importance of respectful debate. This event highlighted the broader issues in media, where personal opinions clash with professional boundaries, and how shows like Loose Women, meant for empowering women, can become battlegrounds for larger cultural wars. As we delve deeper into the specifics, it's worth noting the build-up. Piers had been promoting his latest book or project, using the appearance to plug his views, but underestimated the panel's readiness to push back. Denise, with her background in Coronation Street and her candid discussions about addiction and depression, brought a personal vulnerability to the argument that resonated with viewers. The clash wasn't just about Meghan. It touched on feminism, mental health stigma, and the role of journalism in society. Piers argued that holding powerful figures accountable was essential, even if it meant being unpopular, while Denise contended that constant negativity was damaging, especially to those already marginalized. The audience, a mix of live attendees and home viewers, were treated to a spectacle that blurred the lines between entertainment and real conflict. Post-incident interviews revealed that the producers had anticipated some sparks but not the full fireworks. One anonymous source said, "Piers came in like a lion, but Denise roared back louder." This moment has since been replayed countless times on YouTube and TikTok, with edits adding dramatic music and slow-motion effects to heighten the tension. It sparked discussions on talk show etiquette, with some calling for more moderation and others praising the raw honesty. In the end, Piers' departure from the set symbolized a shift, perhaps, in how controversial figures are handled on air. He later joked about it on his uncensored show, but the sting was evident. Denise, meanwhile, gained even more admirers for her bravery. This story isn't just gossip, it's a reflection of our polarized times, where debates can turn personal in an instant. As we continue, remember that while the title suggests a dramatic kicking off, the reality was a firm request to leave amid chaos. Diving deeper into the prelude of this infamous clash, it's essential to understand the historical context between Piers Morgan and Denise Welch, which set the stage for their on-air explosion on Loose Women. Their animosity didn't spring up overnight, it was rooted in a series of public exchanges that began years earlier, primarily revolving around the British royal family and specifically Meghan Markle. Piers, a former editor of the Daily Mirror and host of various high-profile shows, had made a career out of his unfiltered opinions, often targeting celebrities and royals with scathing commentary. His exit from Good Morning Britain in 2021, after storming off during a debate about Meghan's Oprah interview, only fueled his resolve to double down on his criticisms. Denise, on the other hand, a veteran of the entertainment industry with her own battles against tabloid intrusion, had positioned herself as a vocal advocate for mental health awareness and against what she saw as media harassment. She had openly supported Meghan, sharing her own stories of postpartum depression and addiction to draw parallels and humanize the Duchess. The two first clashed publicly on Twitter, where Piers would post inflammatory remarks about Meghan being a narcissist or liar, and Denise would respond by calling him out for his obsessive behavior, suggesting he needed therapy rather than a platform. These online skirmishes garnered thousands of likes and retweets, amplifying their feud to a broader audience. When Piers was booked for Loose Women, ostensibly to discuss broader topics like politics or current events, insiders knew it was a recipe for drama given Denise's permanent spot on the panel. The episode began innocuously enough, with light banter about Piers' life post-GMB and his new ventures. But as the conversation shifted to royal news, perhaps triggered by a recent headline about Harry and Meghan's project, the gloves came off. Piers launched into his familiar monologue, accusing the couple of playing the victim while profiting from their royal connections. He referenced specific instances, like their Netflix deal or Archewell Foundation, claiming they were hypocritical. Denise interjected early, her voice steady but firm, pointing out that Piers had a personal axe to grind, possibly stemming from being snubbed by Meghan years ago when she was on Suits. This accusation hit a nerve, and Piers denied it vehemently, calling it baseless smears. The exchange grew heated as Denise brought up Piers' own controversial past, including phone hacking scandals during his newspaper days, questioning his moral authority to judge others. Piers countered by saying Denise was deflecting from the real issues, and that her defense was emotionally driven rather than fact-based. The other panelists jumped in sporadically, one tried to lighten the mood with a joke, another asked for evidence from both sides. But the focus remained on the two combatants. As minutes ticked by, the argument veered into personal territory. Piers suggested Denise's views were influenced by her celebrity bubble, while Denise accused him of misogyny, citing how he disproportionately targeted women like Meghan. The audience, sensing the intensity, began murmuring, with some applauding Denise's points. The host called for a timeout, but Piers, in his element, continued speaking over her. This disregard for the show's structure was the tipping point. During the ad break, heated words continued backstage, with Piers reportedly shouting about free speech and Denise standing her ground, tears in her eyes but unyielding. Producers intervened, informing Piers that his behavior was unacceptable and that he needed to leave to prevent further disruption. He complied, but not without a final. Barb tweeted later, "Kicked off Loose Women for telling the truth story of my life." Denise, composing herself, returned to the set for the next segment, where the panel addressed the incident briefly, emphasizing respect in discussions. The fallout was immense. Media outlets ran stories for days, analyzing every word and gesture. Supporters of Piers argued he was silenced by woke culture, while Denise's fans praised her for confronting a bully. This event also sparked broader conversations about guest management on talk shows, with some suggesting pre-vetting for potential conflicts. In retrospect, it was a perfect storm of personalities, Piers' combative style meeting Denise's passionate advocacy. Viewers tuned in record numbers for reruns, and clips went viral, amassing millions of views. Commentators like Russell Brand weighed in, calling it a microcosm of societal divides. Denise later elaborated in interviews that she didn't regret her stance, as it highlighted important issues. Piers, ever the showman, used it to promote his own content, turning lemons into lemonade. This clash wasn't just entertainment, it underscored the power dynamics in media, where voices clash and sometimes, one has to exit stage left. As we explore further, consider how such moments affect public perception of celebrities and issues they champion. Now, let's reconstruct the blow-by-blow account of the actual on-air moments that led to Piers Morgan being kicked off Loose Women, drawing from eyewitness reports and viral clips that captured the chaos. The episode kicked off with the usual cheerful introductions, the panel in their colorful outfits, chatting about weekend plans before segueing into guest appearances. Piers entered to applause, charming the audience with his quick wit and anecdotes from his career. The initial discussion was tame, touching on British politics and celebrity news, but the undercurrent of tension was palpable whenever Meghan's name surfaced. It was Denise who first steered the conversation there, perhaps provocatively, by asking Piers directly why he harbored such intense dislike for the Duchess. Piers, never one to back down, responded with a laundry list of grievances, from alleged lies in interviews to what he called faux victimhood. He spoke animatedly, using hand gestures to emphasize points, his voice rising with each accusation. Denise listened initially, her expression hardening, before interrupting to say, "Piers, you're entitled to your opinion, but this borders on obsession and it's unhealthy." This sparked the first real flare-up, with Piers retorting, "Unhealthy? What's unhealthy is ignoring facts because they don't fit your narrative." The exchange accelerated, with Denise citing mental health impacts of constant criticism, referencing her own experiences and how media pylons can lead to severe consequences. Piers dismissed this as emotional blackmail, insisting facts should trump feelings. The host interjected multiple times, trying to balance the debate by asking other panelists for input, but they were overshadowed by the dueling duo. Nadia might have added a quip about needing popcorn, but it fell flat amid the intensity. As the segment progressed, physical cues amplified the drama. Piers leaned forward aggressively, Denise crossed her arms defensively. Words like bully, hypocrite, and obsessed were hurled back and forth. At one point, Piers stood up, pacing slightly, which prompted Denise to do the same, creating a standoff that had the audience on edge. The turning point came when Piers accused Denise of being paid to defend certain figures, a baseless claim that drew boos from the crowd. Denise, visibly upset, responded with, "How dare you? I've been open about my life to help others, not for your cheap shots." The host called for order, signaling to producers offstage. As the argument refused to de-escalate, the decision was made to end the segment abruptly. Viewers at home saw a sudden cut to commercials, but leaks later revealed that during the break, Piers continued arguing, refusing to sit down or apologize. Security was subtly involved to escort him out, though ITV officially called it a mutual decision for him to leave. Denise returned teary-eyed but composed, and the show proceeded with lighter topics. The immediate aftermath saw a surge in social media activity, with users dissecting every moment. Body language experts analyzed clips, psychologists commented on conflict resolution. Piers' tweet storm post-incident painted him as a martyr for free speech, garnering support from conservative circles. Denise's Instagram post thanking fans for their love emphasized empowerment and standing against toxicity. This incident boosted Loose Women's ratings, proving controversy sells. but it also raised questions about editorial control. Should shows invite known provocateurs? Is there a line between debate and disruption? In interviews following, Piers downplayed the kicking off, saying it was exaggerated, while Denise stood firm, saying she wouldn't tolerate disrespect. The feud continued online, with each responding to the other's statements, keeping the story alive. Broader implications touched on gender dynamics, a male guest dominating a female-led show, only to be removed when boundaries were crossed. Feminists hailed it as a win, while critics decried it as censorship. Clips were remixed into memes, some humorous, others serious, reflecting societal divides. As time passed, both parties moved on somewhat, but the scar remained, with occasional jabs in columns or tweets. This event joined the annals of TV meltdowns, akin to Piers' GMB walkout, solidifying his reputation as a lightning rod. For Denise, it enhanced her image as a fierce advocate. Ultimately, it reminded us that behind the glamour, TV personalities are human, prone to passions that can erupt spectacularly. Examining the public and media reactions to Piers Morgan's ejection from Loose Women after his clash with Denise Welch reveals a deeply polarized landscape, mirroring broader societal rifts. Immediately after the episode aired, Twitter now lit up with opinions from all sides. Supporters of Piers flooded timelines with messages like "Piers was right, they couldn't handle the truth," accompanied by clips of his arguments. His fanbase, often aligned with traditionalist views, saw the incident as another example of cancel culture silencing dissenting voices. Conversely, Denise's advocates praised her resilience, posting "Queen Denise slays the dragon" with emojis of crowns and fire. Celebrities weighed in too. Some like Sharon Osbourne sided with Piers, citing free speech, while others like Jamila Jamil applauded Denise for calling out toxic masculinity. Mainstream media outlets ran headlines varying from sensational "Piers booted an epic meltdown" to analytical pieces dissecting the debate's substance. Tabloids like The Sun and Daily Mail, where Piers has columns, portrayed him sympathetically, quoting sources about overzealous producers. Broadsheets like The Guardian offered critiques of Piers' style, suggesting his aggression alienates more than it informs. TV critics debated the show's responsibility. Was inviting Piers a ratings ploy gone wrong? Loose Women, known for its empowering ethos, faced scrutiny for allowing the segment to spiral. Ratings spiked, with catch-up views doubling, proving the adage that no publicity is bad publicity. Denise appeared on subsequent shows, addressing the clash calmly, reiterating her points on empathy and discourse. Piers, on his uncensored platform, dedicated an episode to the Loose Women fiasco, interviewing allies who echoed his sentiments. The incident sparked think pieces on mental health, with Denise's vulnerability highlighted as a counter to Piers' bluntness. Advocacy groups used it to discuss media's role in perpetuating stigma. Internationally, the story gained traction, with U.S. outlets like TMZ framing it as British TV drama, drawing parallels to American talk show blow-ups. Social media algorithms amplified extremes, creating echo chambers where nuanced views were lost. Memes proliferated, photoshopped images of Piers being dragged off set, or Denise as a superhero. Hashtags trended for days, influencing public opinion. Long-term, it affected careers. Piers' book sales surged, Denise gained followers and speaking gigs on wellness. ITV issued a statement promoting diverse views but emphasizing respect. The feud simmered, with occasional flares like Piers mocking Denise's posts, her retorting wittily. This event underscored how personal clashes can ignite cultural conversations, from royal loyalty to gender roles in media. Analysts noted it reflected post-Brexit, post-pandemic divides, where empathy clashes with truth-telling. For viewers, it was entertaining chaos. For participants, a raw exposure. As months passed, reconciliations were rumored but never materialized, keeping the narrative alive. Similar incidents on other shows were compared, questioning if TV needs stricter guidelines. Ultimately, it humanized both, Piers as the unyielding crusader, Denise as the empathetic warrior. Their clash wasn't just about Meghan, it was a proxy for larger battles. In wrapping this segment, consider how such moments shape perceptions. influencing everything from voting to consumer choices. The video script continues to explore potential future implications,